Welcome to Curly Not Sorry, where we unapologetically debunk and demystify all of the misinformation that's out there on the internet and teach you how to properly care for your curls. My name is Devin and I'm your curl specialist. Now, we have gotten started with that wash and go series, and I figured I do need to show you how I do my wash and go. I typically wear it in my natural curls. I know you've seen me in my blowouts a lot, but I do typically wear it in my natural curls, so I wanted to show you some of my favorite products that I use in my own hair and also how I go about styling it. Now, clearly, it's wash day. But do keep in mind that this to me doesn't look bad. Like, I am very much a volume over definition person. So if you're someone who wants your hair to be more defined, then the way that I do my hair for the results that I like might not necessarily be for you. But I figured I would show you in case you're someone who likes a little bit of definition but likes a lot of volume. That's me. So I'm going to wash my hair really quick and then I will come back and show you how I style it. So I'm typically someone who does this in the shower, and I always recommend that my clients do this in the shower as well. This way I can re-wet my hair as I'm going through it if certain parts are starting to dry out, because we do want the hair to be sopping wet as we do this. But I have my trusty water bottle for that, and you can re-wet your hair the same way. Today I'm using 3 different products, and I know I'm typically someone that preaches using one product and one product only, but I know that there are plenty of you that do like to use a multitude of products, and I figured I would show, this is just one of the many styling options that I use. Typically I create holds, I'll do which is a gel, or I will do just a cream. I typically don't do one and then the other. Not that you can't, it's just that for me, I don't have the patience, and if you put a cream in your hair and then something on top of that, it just makes your hair take that much longer to dry. And I don't have the patience to do all of that, so I typically just do one or the other. So today, I'm gonna start out with Sweet Spirit Leave-In. Yes, all the products that I'm gonna use today are Interscents. That's pretty much all I use in my hair. Deal with it. But I'm gonna start with a Sweet Spirit Leave-In Conditioner Spray. To me, and this might be a controversial take, leave-in conditioner is not a styler. It's like an additional conditioner, basically. The way that I think of it is conditioner is the thing that you rinse out, whereas leave-in conditioner is the one that you leave in. And it's just like a moisture retention assistant, basically, and that's really it. I'm spraying it all over because my hair has not been detangled yet, and this stuff is really, really great for a detangler. So just sort of spray that everywhere, let it sit in your hair for a couple seconds, and then I'll be able to detangle my hair a lot more easily. Now, I did condition it, so that alone should give it a little bit of slip, but I do rinse all of my conditioner out, as should all of you. Rinse it all the way out, unless the instructions say to do otherwise. And I'm gonna start from the bottom and work my way up. Now, if the brush horizontally is not doing what you want it to do, use it vertically, because that way all of the bristles line up and it slides through the hair that much more easily. Whereas when I'm going in horizontally, it maybe doesn't work as much. And I detangle my hair in sections. Now, for those of you that are always asking me about this underneath area, that's a problem area for everyone. If your hair is past your shoulders, even by an inch, if your hair is long enough to rub on your clothes at all, it's gonna create friction, and it's gonna create tangles. And that's just how that goes. I tend to cut that underneath part shorter than everything else, just because I know that like those split ends are going to continue to split if I don't trim them. And also it just makes it less of a hassle, and then there's less tangling that's happening for me. That's just an option. You don't have to do that. It's not even necessarily my suggestion. It's just what I do. Again, I like to detangle in sections I have a lot of hair, and this is the longest that it's been since I was a teenager. So I'm still kind of getting the hang of having long hair for the first time in a really long time, in like 20 years. So working in sections just works better for me. And as you can see, my hair is still dripping wet. I do kind of want to not have a part today, although it tends to part down the middle. We'll see. Okay, so on top of that, I'm gonna layer 2 products. So I want to talk about the difference between layering and cocktailing, because I'm gonna be doing a little bit of both today. So layering means that I'm applying one product and working that through, and then I'm applying another product on top of that, layering. Cocktailing means that I'm taking 2 products or more and I am mixing them together before I even apply it to my hair. Not all products cocktail well together. Not all products layer well together. Some products layer better than they cocktail, and others cocktail better than they layer. One way to tell is if a product starts to separate or pill. If it starts looking like it has these like little white chunks in it, that's typically a sign that the product doesn't really mix very well. So those wouldn't be a product that I would layer or cocktail together. For these 2 products, so I started again with the leave-in conditioner just to assist with a little bit of moisture retention in my hair. The next thing I'm gonna use today, I'm gonna use foams, because I want a little bit of definition, but I really just want a lot of volume. I really liked how big my hair was before I washed it. I don't have an issue with big hair. I really like big hair. If I could have giant Diana Ross hair everywhere I go, I would be so excited. I would love it. That's my goal, right? So I am going to cocktail these 2 foams together. Why am I using 2 foams? Well, because they each serve different purposes. So the I Create Definition Styling Foam gives, again, like it says in the title, beautiful definition to the hair. But when hair has a ton of definition, it doesn't really allow for as much volume. This is a very high hold product, and by itself, if you use too much of it, it can get rather crunchy. The I Create Lift Volumizing Foam is the thing that I'm obviously going to be using to assist in my hair being voluminous. But the reason that I like these 2 together is that together they basically create a whole new foam that's going to give me beautiful definition and the amount of volume that I want. So that's why I'm cocktailing these. Do you have to cocktail 2 different things together? No. Do you have to use more than one product? No. You can definitely just use one product and that's totally fine. But for today and for the results that I'm looking for, I'm gonna use these 2. And I've used this combination before, and it's kind of my favorite, or one of my favorites, I should say. I use it on a lot of my clients, and they're always really happy with it. So, okay. So I'm gonna start, and I go in sections. I never just put a ton of product all over and then rake my fingers through it. I always go through in sections, the way that you've seen me do on my clients in my previous videos for Wash and Goes. I always go in sections. That just allows for even distribution throughout the hair, and it also makes it a little bit easier for me to control each section. 2 pumps of the I Create Volume and 2 pumps of the styling foam. And then I'm going to mix that together in my hands. And that's cocktailing. And I go from roots to ends. Again, we put product everywhere in our hair, from roots to ends. Now this is the raking that I typically do, but because I want a little bit more, I guess, separation or diffusion, and I don't want my curls to be so defined, I'm gonna go through and brush through them. I don't typically, unless I'm trying to like get a ton of volume on day 1. I'm not someone who like longevity really matters to me as far as my styling, because I wash my hair like 1 to 2 times a week anyways. So I'm not going to try to make one particular style last for an entire week. because I will go through halfway through the week and just wash and restyle, and that's fine. 2 pumps of each. And I do want to make sure it gets here. And this is the Brush with the Best Felicia Leatherwood brush. I've had this for quite some time. I have a few of them actually. I have one at home in my shower, and then I have one at the salon. There's also a company called Potion that makes a small brush that also separates like this, but it's a bit more flexible. It's a small brush, but it works. I really do love it. And yeah, so those are the 2 brushes that I recommend the most. I really love those brushes. And as you can see, I'm not doing like a ton of small sections for myself because again, definition is not really the goal here. I do want to wet up here a little bit more. The higher I get, the more of the volumizing foam I put, because it's all up in here that you want all that volume, right? So then I'll put like maybe 2.5 pumps of the volumizing foam and maybe 1.5 pumps of the I Create definition, and go from there because I want all that lift. I'm not being particularly precious about it. I'm not as precious with my own hair as I am with my client's hair, I will say. So, and I like to try to comb some of it up in the crown area because I don't want to brush it down and then have that dragged down, because then it just makes it that much harder to achieve the volume that I'm looking for. So if I'm brushing it with a little bit of lift from the root, it's just a little helpful for me. And now we've got this top section here. I'm still gonna divide that in 2. One pump of the I Create definition foam, 1.5 to 2 pumps of the I Create volume, or I Create lift. Okay, and that's basically all of that. And then, of course, let me scoot this chair back. I'm gonna put the towel here because I don't want to scrunch water out onto the floor or onto the chair. This is the other reason I do suggest people do this in the shower, so that when you do squeeze your hair out and all that water comes out, then you're not getting it all over the bathroom. You're just getting it on the shower floor. And then the shower is gonna clean that up for you anyways, so it really doesn't matter. And I say get close to the root and squeeze, because that's how you get your roots to dry too. And that's how I apply my product. Well, when I'm using these 2 products anyways. Next, I'm gonna diffuse. I am a high heat, high wind person because I don't have time to sit here and be here all day. So I am going to diffuse my hair with the highest heat that the dryer offers and the highest wind. Now, when we are talking about heat damage, we're almost never talking about using the diffuser because the air is so diffused. It's meant to sort of surround the hair. It's not concentrated like with a nozzle. So it's not the same. I don't really think you need to use a thermal protectant in your hair. Even though a lot of Intersense products do have thermal care in them, I don't necessarily think that you need to have a heat protectant for diffusing. It's more so for when you're doing blowouts and flat irons and curling irons and things like that you need a heat protectant for. But I'm gonna get started on diffusing, but just know that I'll start by like kind of hover drying, and I'm someone who flips my hair to one side and then flips my hair to the other side and then flips it forward. I'm flipping it all over the place because I don't want it to just dry down. I want it to dry with a little bit of lift. Now, some people, this is kind of a controversial topic. Some people do say that like if you're flipping your hair upside down, then you're actually defeating the purpose and you're eliminating volume. I personally haven't had that experience. I think for a lot of people, they were using the clips for a long time. I know when Diva came out with those big clips that you can put at your root, but I started noticing that those were causing more of an issue than anything because they were metal. Now metal, when under the dryer or with diffusers, was heating up, and then it was making the roots actually flatter than we meant for them to be because it was heating up the roots as well. And when you take hot metal to hair, it flattens it out, it straightens it. That's what a flat iron is. So that I did notice being a bit of an issue, so I typically don't suggest that people use clips. But side to side tends to work best. I do like to flip it upside down and like shake it out a lot. I'm someone that I put my hands in my hair a lot while I'm drying it because I like a lot of volume. If you're someone who's looking for a lot of definition, do not touch your hair while it's still drying. It needs to be at least 80% dry before you start to break that cast. If you're someone who wants definition and longevity, then I wouldn't touch it at all. I wouldn't even break the cast on day one. I would just let your hair be a little crunchy on day 1 and 2 because your cast is naturally gonna break on its own, and then you get more longevity out of your style that way. If you're someone like me who wants a lot of volume, touch it as much as you want to because that's gonna contribute to it getting bigger and bigger. However, if you want maximum definition, try not to touch it very much. And then at the very end, if you want to break that cast because you would prefer your hair just feel like hair rather than feeling like it's crunchy, then you can break the cast if you want to. I am gonna get started. That's how I style and diffuse my hair. Now, if you noticed, I was like shaking it out a lot. The thing that you want to make sure of when you go to shake out your hair, whether it's curly or coily, what have you, loose, wavy, whatever, you want to stick your hands in at the root, at the scalp. Your hands are on your scalp, and that's how you are shaking it out. Then, when you take your hands out, you're not raking it through the hair because then you're gonna undo all of the definition that you've done. So you just take it out the exact same way that you put them in. So again, I'm sticking my hands in, I'm shaking it out, I'm pulling them out. Stick my hand in, shake it out, pull it out. Stick my hand in, shake it out, pull it out. Stick my hand in, shake it out, pull it out the same way I put it in. And I'm breaking my cast so that it's nice and big and fluffy. If you noticed, I was kind of doing that the whole time just because I'm not someone who needs to dry with a cast. I'm not someone who needs that maximum definition. My hair likes to clump and ringlet on its own anyways, and I tend to pull them apart because I like it to be bigger than ringlets really allow. And that is how I do my hair. So I hope that helped some of you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if there's something else that you would like to see, if you want to see my hair with maximum definition it can possibly have, and not have volume as a concern, which is gonna kind of hurt my heart, but I'll do it just for you guys. And if you found this useful, then like or put something in the comments. Let me know if there's something else that you want to see. If you think that somebody else that you know might find this useful, please share it with them. Thank you so much for coming to Curly Not Sorry.